So anyway, after Christmas at 7:30, we have the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl. Western Kentucky against Central CMU from Ford Field in Detroit.
Definitely going to have to go with Central Michigan on this one. Western Kentucky. What can you tell me about Western Kentucky?
Their mascot looks like Elmo.
Yeah, and Elmo didn't exactly have a good year, so we're going to go with Central Michigan on that one. Go Chippewas.
Fire up Chips. And basketball, Western Kentucky, something in here. They're nothing except their coach has an interesting last name, Taggart.
And they have the name Kentucky in their basketball name.
Exactly.
So that's got to make them a little bit better.
Fear the flat top. Central Michigan all the way, fire up Chips. At 9:45 that same day at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, Norv Turner, woohoo! The Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl.
And that's how sweet my hometown is. San Diego has 2 bowls to host. Yeah.
Baylor against UCLA.
This is a great game. This is the first game I can honestly say, outside of maybe BYU, San Diego State, that you should watch. Baylor versus UCLA. Even though we're all men, we're going to watch them all anyway.
Exactly.
Baylor versus UCLA, it's a great game, but UCLA just came off 2 straight losses to Stanford. And, you know, when you get that losing mentality, it's just not a good thing. Baylor, though, is on fire right now after clobbering Kansas State. Their running back, C. Strunk, is awesome. He's like DeAnthony Thomas on Oregon, except he's not DeAnthony Thomas, and he's not on Oregon. He's on Baylor. I'm taking Baylor to outscore UCLA.
But I say UCLA was in the championship game in the Pac-12. But this year was much better. Last year they got thrashed by Oregon. Gus Johnson was screaming because of that. This time it wasn't. It was a game against Stanford. And of course, who's their coach? Jim Elmora. And we all remember what Jim Mora said 11 years ago. Playoffs? What are you talking about, playoffs? Playoffs? I just want to win a game.
Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl? What?
But because Baylor does not have RG3, UCLA is decent. Look who they beat. The dirty hands of Lane Kiffin in USC.
Dude, shout out to Lane Kiffin, man. Your wife is smoking up.
I haven't seen his wife yet.
You should Google it. It's nice.
Tony Romo's wife is hot, though. UCLA wins that one because I think they just have a little bit of an edge. Plus momentum, too. The Russell Athletic Bowl. Rutgers against Virginia Tech.
Even though Rutgers just joined the Big Ten, along with Garber High School and about 18 other schools, Rutgers is not nearly as good as they were a few years ago under Shiano. And Virginia Tech struggled, but their quarterback is mobile. I like his ability to make plays, especially broken plays. And I think Frank Beamer eventually is going to put together the special teams that have been so lousy this year. I'm definitely taking Virginia Tech to beat Rutgers, but it's going to be a close game. And I don't look forward to Rutgers nor Maryland coming to the Big Ten, although I do think it's hilarious that the Big Ten is now home to the best uniforms in college football and the absolute worst uniforms in college football.
I actually didn't mind those Maryland jerseys of the Maryland flag. They tried to, deceive the opposition, but
they looked like uniforms that like a 5-year-old would have created on a create your own team on like College Football 2001. That's how bad those uniforms are.
Although I did like Rutgers' uniforms against Louisville. Those were pretty sweet, especially their helmets.
Rutgers, hey, it's the birth of college football, so we'll see.
But I think Rutgers wins this one because they've been decent this year, although half of nobody watches the Big East. Because the Big East is almost like the MAC, almost a non-AQ.
Yeah, and Rutgers is so bad they didn't even film their games. So Virginia Tech doesn't have any game film to study. That's how bad Rutgers is.
The Meineke Car Care Bowl of Texas. Oh my, how many classic Meineke Car Care Bowl of Texas.
And nothing says college football greatness like Texas Tech and Minnesota. Golden Gophers win. Oh my goodness. I got to go with Texas Tech in this one. Ever since they fired Glenn Mason at Minnesota when they were winning 7, 8, 9, 10 games a year.
When they were actually ranked.
they were ranked. They won the Brown Jug. They made it into like some big games, but they couldn't win the big bowl games. They kept blowing them. And all of a sudden, Minnesota was like, we're one of the greatest college football programs in history. Glenn Mason, you're fired. And Minnesota has not been heard from since. In fact, I think since then they've lost like 3 times to 1AA teams. Ouch. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech all the way.
Texas Tech all the way because Minnesota kind of sucks. Though they're 6-6 and they should have beaten Michigan State. Yeah, Texas Tech all the way on that one.
Heck yeah.